immigration are particularly high. And then interestingly, on immigration, you find a very stark divide between the views of younger graduates who are quite positive about the economic impact of immigration and older people, older school leavers, who are much more negative. And while in aggregate our view is quite typical of a lot of European countries, we actually find we've got the biggest divide on that issue on the continent.
What did you find in terms of social attitudes and particularly attitudes to religion?
So interestingly, we've seen the continued rise of social liberalism, I guess you would call it. So attitudes towards same-sex relationships have become an awful lot more accepting. We're more accepting of sex before marriage. Also keener on women having the right to an abortion. And as you say, particularly amongst religious groups, we find those attitudes are liberalising, and liberalising at a faster rate in recent years as well.
Roger Harding from the National Centre for Social Research, thank you very much.
6 minutes to 7. A village shop was forced to change its name from Sainsbury's when the supermarket chain Sainsbury's threatened to take legal action against it. The shop in the tiny little village of West Allotment in North Tyneside has now, though, rebranded itself as Morrisings. And Morrisons, the other supermarket chain, are apparently quite relaxed about that. The owner of Morrisings joined us on the line from Newcastle, Jel Singh Nagra. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Who came up with the idea of this new name?
Myself.
And you waited quite a while though, didn't you? You were without a name for quite a long time.
We were. How it all started was 6 years ago. I took over the shop. The name Sainsbury's was already on there and the sign was already up. I actually took over the shop from my sister's brother-in-law.
And Sainsbury's wrote you a snotty letter?
They did, and I was on honeymoon. They sent a letter to say, can you take it down, it's infringing on our copyrights.
And were you worried?
We just took the sign down. It was very, very close to them, in all fairness, the same colour, the same font. And there is quite a lot of Sainsbury's signs up and down the country which have been left, but the colour scheme was a bit too close to home.
And yet you're doing it all over again. You've taken the risk again.
I've took the risk, but I've been very careful. The colour scheme's different.
Well, I've just looked at it. You've got that M in a circle. It looks very like Morrison's.
They don't use that anymore. I don't know if you've noticed.
I see. I haven't been recently enough.
Might want to go. They're a good shop.
Yeah, well, so's Morrison's apparently. Yeah. What are they thinking about the new name? Are they enjoying it?
Yes. I mean, to be honest with you, it's all done in jest, and it's to put West Allotment on the map, and it has done that. And it's basically.
You were trending on Twitter yesterday.
I think we were 9th at one point. We were on Sky. We were on all other news as well.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but at least you made it to the BBC.
But BBC have done it as well. We were on the BBC News website as well. It's actually gone global. My feet haven't touched the floor, to be perfectly honest with you.
And what are Morrison's, the proper one, the supermarket chain, making it?
They've actually wished us luck. They've actually tweeted that myself and our customers have really got good taste, and they wish us well, which is, I tip my hat off to them, to be perfectly honest with you.
Well, and it makes a little point, doesn't it, about the Sikh name Singh?
Yes, well, all Sikh males are called Singh, middle name, and all females are called Kaur, which means lion for the male and lioness for the female. And it was just a play on that and a play on words, and it all happened in jest. All our customers come in and all say, pick another name, pick another name. And I've been playing with this name for a while because everyone's still calling it Sainsbury's, even though the sign wasn't there.
Well, now it's Morrisings, and Jel Singh Nagra, thank you very much indeed for joining us. It's a big story in the Whitby Seaside Chronicle, which is, followers of this programme will know, is the first reporting job that Brian Redhead had before he came in.
It's 3 minutes to 7 and Matt Taylor's here with the weather. Hello, Matt.
Good morning, Michelle. One thing I can also say about Whitby today, it's going to be very wet, as well, quite a few of you this Wednesday. Let's start with southwest England and Wales. Cloudy grey day, misty over the hills, rain on and off, heaviest bursts, most persistent of the rain, likely to be across parts of Devon and Cornwall at times. Cool day as well, temperatures just 14 Celsius on North Wales, 16 to 17 South Wales and southwest England. For southeast England, the overnight rains now continue to clear away. Lots of big puddles around at the moment, and there'll still be the odd splash of rain, but generally dry through the day. Fairly grey and misty, however. Temperatures 18 to 20 Celsius. Across the Midlands and eastern England, we've got some heavy bursts of rain still, North Midlands and East Anglia at the moment. That will gradually ease off. Things do turn a little bit dry, but there'll still be some rain or drizzle around even into the afternoon, and another rather chilly day. 14 Celsius in Birmingham up to around 18 in Ipswich. Northern England, though, whilst it may be dry for some in Cumbria, Northumberland, parts of Lancashire, the rain will become very extensive. Most relentless across parts of Yorkshire. It's going to make for a cool day in the wind, 12 to 15 the high. For Northern Ireland, a few splashes of rain this morning, pushing westwards, but there'll be a bit of brightness on the north coast, lifting temperatures to 17. And for Scotland, mostly dry, 6 sunny in Shetland, 13 in Edinburgh, 16 in Glasgow.
Thank you, Matt. This summer on Radio 4, Sue Lawley introduces an exploration of the role of history in our lives.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the BBC's Wreath Lecturer for 2017, Hilary Mantel.
It's such a distinguished series, and it gives me a chance to pull together thoughts I've been harbouring over many years about history and fiction. And history is not the past. It's the method we've evolved of organising our ignorance of the past.
The Wreath Lectures 2017 with Dame Hilary Mantel.
It's what's left in the sieve when the centuries have run through it.
Available now on the BBC Radio 4 website.
In the next hour of this programme, we'll have the latest on the ransomware cyber attack. We'll be looking at the system of building control in local authorities and elsewhere and asking if it needs an overhaul. And austerity. Is it time for the government to rethink its economic course?
You're listening to Today on BBC Radio 4 with Michelle Hussain and Nick Robertson. Good morning, it's 7 o'clock on Wednesday the 28th of June. The headlines this morning: MPs are being urged to vote for more public spending when Labour challenges the government in an amendment to the Queen's speech. Relatives of the 96 football fans who died in the Hillsborough tragedy will hear this morning whether anybody will face criminal charges. A skin patch that delivers a flu vaccine has been described as a potential game changer in the fight against disease. The BBC News is read this morning by Diana Speed.
Labour says it will challenge MPs today to oppose further austerity. It will urge them to back an amendment to the Queen's speech calling for more spending on the police and fire services and an end to the 1% cap on public sector pay rises. However, the Conservatives' deal with the Democratic Unionists means the amendment stands little chance of success. The Tories say only they will deliver the economy needed to properly fund the emergency services. Here's our political correspondent, Alex Forsyth.
Citing the recent attacks in London, Manchester and the fire at Grenfell Tower, Labour's amendment calls for the recruitment of more officers and firefighters and urges the government to lift the 1% public sector pay cap. Labour says it's a test case for MPs' approach to austerity. It's highly unlikely to get enough support to pass. Conservative MPs won't risk challenging Theresa May's authority when it comes to the Queen's speech, and the party's deal with the DUP secures the backing of their 10 MPs. Even so, Theresa May's majority is slim, and emboldened by the election result, Labour is likely to take every chance in Parliament to test it. In response to the amendment, a Conservative spokesman commended the recent work of the emergency services and said the measures in the Queen's speech would build an economy allowing for improved living standards and investment in public services.
The government is responsible for police funding in England and Wales and for the fire service in England. In other parts of the UK, control is devolved. A major annual study of public opinion in England, Scotland and Wales suggests that almost half the population favour raising taxes to increase spending on public services. Nearly 3,000 people were interviewed for the British Social Attitude Survey between last July and November. There's also evidence of a softening of opposition amongst Christians to both homosexuality and abortion. More details from our religious affairs correspondent, Martin Bashir.
The most striking shifts in opinion concern those who self-identify as Christians. Although the Church of England offers neither a blessing nor a formal marriage ceremony for gay couples, more than half of Anglicans, 55%, now believe there's nothing wrong with same-sex marriage. That's up from 31% 4 years ago. And while more people than ever, 70%, say that an abortion should be allowed if a woman decides that she does not want the child, the number of Catholics who share this view has almost doubled, from 33% in 1985 to 61% today. Beyond social
The victims will gather